Good day everyone! Today we're gonna tackle about the history of the Philippines labor exports from the first surge of the deployments to the present times and its immediate effects in the Philippine society. For the past 4 decades, the Philippine political economy has emphasized states of sponsorship of broad employment. In terms of money transfer sent, the Philippines is currently ranked third behind India and China as one of the world's biggest labor exporters. Unsurprisingly, the government has been busy establishing a massive bureaucracy to handle the many stages of migration process. From pre-employment to reintegration, this is the prevalent narrative which is based on the hardship and effort of the Filipinos whose work in other countries has kept the economy afloat even during the downturn. The first section of this study looks at the history of labor out-migration in the Philippines, from its origins in colonial times to its regulation in the Labor Code of 1974 under President Ferdinand Marcos and to President Corazon Cuanco Aquino administration. The second section focuses on the broader political, social, economical framework in which Aquino handled and maintained Marcos' state-sponsored labor exports program. Finally, the final section explores the conditions that allowed Aquino to raise migrants to the status of heroes. The idea is that Bagong Bayani is a product of the global and national setting in which it arose, and that the best way to comprehend it is to look at the historical background in which Filipinos first went overseas for employment, as well as the changes in global and local political economic institutions. The purpose of presenting this backdrop is to help people understand why it has become normal to think of OFW as Bagong Bayani.
And now, let us tackle the idea on how these labor exports lead to the coining of the term Bagong Bayani. Those who were forced to work on Spanish galleons in the Manila-Acapulco trade from 1565 to 1815 are the forerunners of the Filipino overseas migration. They were among the first migratory workers to undergo severe labor on foreign lands, tying Filipino labor to the global economy. As a result, labor out-migration is not a brand new phenomenon in the Philippines. The galleon trade contributed to a major and significant early migratory system, remarked by James Steiner. He describes how the Spanish administration, Filipinos aged 16 to 40, were obliged to work for 40 days a year, completing various activities as part of the polo or forced labor system. Because of the Industrial Revolution and the British occupation of Manila in the 18th and 19th centuries, the Philippines became increasingly integrated to the global economy around the end of the Spanish era. During the legitimization of global recognition for OFWs as skilled workers, Corazon Cuanco Aquino had been the key factor of making our OFW countrymen considered as the new heroes because she stated that our fellow Filipino workers that are in abroad are the new considered heroes in our era due to their contribution to the Philippine economy and system that represents the country during the speech at the St. Margaret's Church at Hong Kong in April 1988. The state's active role in labor export had by then reached its 14th year. This was the first time the phrase was invoked on record to refer to overseas Filipino workers. Corazon Cuanco Aquino also stated that she envied the sacrifices of Filipino workers not only for their families but also for the state of the Philippines itself. Aquino showed words of wisdom for OFWs that strives to help and contribute to the state by saying things like how proud and thankful she is to the Filipino people that works abroad, and told them to raise their head up high and be proud of whatever labor they do because they are our heroes and the government got their back and would definitely do its best to provide welfare that our OFWs deserve.
As everyone knows, The word bayani is often called a hero in our country. These people are brave, unselfish, and courageous. For example, Jose Rizal, Apolinario Mabini, Andres Bonifacio, and many more. In short, they are the ones who are willing to take the risk and sacrifice every bit of their lives for the sake of their citizens and beloved country without asking anything in return. Nowadays, in the Philippines, plenty of bayani or bagong bayani is mainly seen everywhere in the country. Doing their jobs under any circumstances. Just like what is happening right now that we are in a pandemic situation, the doctors and nurses are doing their everything to help their patients. Unfortunately, others are leaving the country to find jobs that suits their skills and characteristics and provide financial support to their own families. These people are the overseas Filipino workers, or also known as OFWs. We can call the OFWs our heroes in our time. The reason here is that they sacrifice themselves to help their families to give them better and trouble-free lives, and they don't want to see them suffer in life. However, it doesn't support the country by leaving the country. Because why would they go if there are also opportunities in our own country? Here's why people prefer to work abroad. Have better career opportunities, high salaries, explore new things, and stable economy. Unlike in the Philippines, the economy lacks steadiness and political situations are not like that good today. Job discrimination and low wages. The government should take action to these problems because if they did not, the country would fall in economy and politics. Lastly, the government must do everything to benefit the country and the citizens. Just like a bayani who gives their everything to improve it. We must follow the path of every bayani because it will also provide an advantage for everyone.